Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Alinga Sise of Urban Harvest Organic Farm. For all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, I am so grateful. And for those who are still new, please kindly consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so that you never miss out any upload. Today I'm super excited. First of all, I'm going to show you our evening routine because it's already evening time and we are going to feed the birds. And then I want to share with you some of the things that I have been doing that have really helped my birds to stay healthy up to this point when they're 13 weeks old. We all know that with the poultry project, we have so many poultry diseases that can affect these birds. And so many of you are sending me comments in the comment section, others on the WhatsApp, how your birds are being affected, how the birds are not walking, the birds are not feeding, the birds are having watery diarrhea. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have been doing that have really helped my birds to come this far without any poultry disease. And guys, honestly, I want you to follow what I'm going to share with you today. But before we do that, we are first going to go and feed on the birds. Then we shall enter inside the chicken house. That's where we are going to discuss all these things. So for today, if you're still new, please kindly consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and I will be so grateful. See you right back. So the first thing that you must consider is biosecurity. And biosecurity, especially if you are at home like this, the only biosecurity measure that you can have is to put a foot bath in front of your chicken house. So here, I have put disinfectant inside that water and I normally change it after every 5 days. And actually, let me show you the disinfectant that I normally use. I think I've shown you this several times. This is the one I am using currently. Okay, so I normally just mix it here. I clean here very well, clean it very well with a detergent, and then pour there fresh water and put there the disinfectant. Also, it depends on how thick it is because it is sometimes becomes so thick if we over enter inside the chicken house and we dip the leg there, the feet there with the boots. So it becomes so thick. So if you see it is thick and it has started to smell, kindly always change it and put fresh water and the detergent, okay, and the disinfectant. And then also, this chicken house, we are only 2 people who normally enter inside here. I do not allow visitors. Okay, I haven't yet started getting visitors to come and visit the farm, much as there are so many people who really want to come and learn, but I haven't yet started that program. I'm still organizing myself. So right now at home here, it's only me and my girl who help me here at the farm who we enter inside here. So I restrict entry inside this chicken house. That is also so important. Now let us first feed the birds. Just like I told you the other time that these birds currently, because of their beak, they are not able to finish up all the feeds. Okay, I think when it is now remaining little like that, when they peck on it, it can pain in their beak, so they normally stop there. But it doesn't stop us from adding for them the feeds. Make sure always you give your birds feeds in time and always give them enough feeds and the right feeds. So right now we are still giving them the layer grower feed, of which I discussed with you the things that you're supposed to mix there, and I told you that was supposed to start from 8 weeks to 17 weeks. So let my girl keep giving them the feeds. You can see they're right there. So the first thing that I am very serious about is the biosecurity. And you know that I'm doing this project from home. So I always make sure that visitors who come and visit me do not enter inside this chicken house. If they're entering, they must put on the boots, dip their feet in the disinfectant before entering the chicken house. And then also me and my girl, we always make sure that at least we put the disinfectant there. We don't enter inside here without disinfecting our feet. That is very important because it is through our feet that we bring the chicken disease inside the chicken house here. Because when we step outside there, sometimes we get out of the gate we go to the market and you just come back and just enter the chicken house. That is typically wrong. Guys, remember we have another farm where we have 292 birds. Those birds are still there. The clothes that we use for entering inside there, we change it before entering inside here. The boots that we are using there, we are not using it here. Actually, sometimes we even bathe. When we enter inside the old chicken house, we first bathe before we come to enter inside here. Actually, me, I rarely enter there. I normally go there if I'm like once in a while, then when I'm making videos to show you what is happening. But I rarely go there. I just go there like I can just enter there once in a day, because I do not want the thing of transferring diseases from the other side to this side. And remember, these birds are still at a stage where they can easily get these chicken diseases. Much as now they are looking big and they are 13 weeks, but trust me, they are still counted as young birds since they haven't yet started laying eggs. So I must protect them. You as a farmer, you must protect your birds. And then also another thing that I did, of which I showed you guys, was to vaccinate these birds. You know that we have chicken diseases that you have to vaccinate the birds against, like the Newcastle disease, like the Gumboro disease, like the fall pox disease, like the fall typhoid disease. These are viral diseases that you can vaccinate your birds against, of which I decided to vaccinate my birds against. Much as I'm using the herbal remedies, we all agreed that we should do vaccination. And why I agreed to vaccination? Simply because me myself, I was also vaccinated when I was young. I don't know whether I call it vaccination or immunization. And I do vaccinate or immunize my children. So that is why I actually accepted to vaccinate these birds. Okay. So that means you must do the vaccination. And guys, I was also fearing to get hit by a disease. And everyone says, Alinga, we told you to vaccinate the birds and you insisted. So vaccination is very important. And I make sure I do vaccination by myself. So that has really helped my birds to protect them from all these chicken diseases. And then also, another thing that I normally do is to come inside the chicken house and check on their droppings, because you can easily notice that your birds are having a disease through their dropping. Like the coccidiosis, I've not seen any dropping for coccidiosis, but sometimes I see like they have some diarrhea. You know, there are some herbs that if you give the birds, it can react to their stomach. And also, since we are in a deep litter system, you cannot stop these birds from eating things from scratching down. So that also makes their dropping to change. So I normally see their dropping. If I see a brown dropping, I act immediately. If I see a bloody dropping, I act immediately. If I see watery dropping, I know I must deworm my birds. So as a farmer or a farm manager or a worker in the farm, make sure you keep on checking on your birds' droppings. The droppings speaks a lot about these birds. So that is also one thing that I do. Honestly, I am this farmer who comes inside the farm. Sometimes I'm just seated inside here, quietly observing these birds. So that is how I have managed to curb down some of these diseases that could have happened or could have affected my birds. Now, like some time back, I remember I shared with you when these birds started sneezing. That was because of the feeds. So when I had the birds sneezing, okay, like the first day I had some few birds sneeze, the second day, the third day, the fourth day I started immediately acting, of which I also saw that I took a bit long. The best way was to hear the birds sneeze the first day like this, immediately taking an action there and then, starting treating them immediately, of which that is not what I did. I had them sneeze. I stayed for 4 more days. Then I started treating them, but I started treating them aggressively, and that is how I managed to curb down that issue. But it was simply because of the feeds. I had mixed a lot of feeds, and these birds couldn't finish the feeds within 2 weeks. So that is why when you're mixing your feeds, make sure you mix the feeds that cannot exceed 2 weeks, because now currently the maize bran that we are mixing in the feed is a bit cold. I don't know whether it is not dry, so you find that it can easily cake and can easily smell. And since it was a rainy season, anyway, the rain is now somehow stopping, not raining so often like it used to. The store could be very cold and you find the feeds caking. So make sure that whenever you're mixing your feeds or buying the feeds, store them well and then buy feeds that these birds can finish at least within 10 days. So I always come inside the farm here when we are feeding the birds. I am always here, unless if I'm very busy or I have something so urgent. But during time for feeding, I am always inside the farm to see those birds that are not fine. Now, like for example, I have here one bird. I wish I could find it. Sometime back when we were feeding the birds, it was not feeling well. For it was just, it was just in the corner and the bird was not feeling well. So what I decided to do, I picked up that bird and removed the feathers from the tail. Then I came back and treated it alone. I remember treating it for 3 days. I could just mix those herbs and then get a syringe, give this bird. Honestly, the bird is there up to now. Imagine if I wasn't this farmer who is very keen and who is never there in the farm. I would have lost that bird already. So I am always inside the farm when we are feeding the birds, always seeing which birds are so dormant, which birds are not running towards the feeds, which bird has which problem. I am always available. And then also another thing that I am very serious about is the herbal remedies. Guys, honestly, these herbal remedies are helping me a lot. I really don't know how I can tell you. These herbal remedies are really helping me a lot. Imagine from day one, I've not given these birds any modern medicine. I have not. And I will not. I have not given them any modern medicine. I am just giving them the herbs. And the vaccination, I am done doing the vaccination. I told you guys that for the fall typhoid, for 14 weeks, I'm not going to do it. But you can see the birds are very active. The birds are very lively. The birds got back to feeding after only 4 days of debeaking them. You can see. Because actually we debeaked them last Friday. And today, it is a Thursday evening that I'm making this video. But you can see the birds. Very active, feeding well. But it is all because of the herbal remedies. So if you have decided that you're going to use the herbal remedies, kindly be consistent. Kindly follow the guidelines. Kindly go back and watch the old videos. Because I've realized there are so many newcomers in the channel who have not watched the old videos. Alinga is one person who will bring birds now like I brought the birds. I have been showing you everything step by step. Step by step. We started, I am just like this person who has given birth and showing every step. How a baby is breastfeeding, how a baby is crawling, when it is starting to sit, when it's starting to talk, when it's starting to walk. That is what I have done with this bird. I am showing you every step, every step. I'm showing you with this bird. So please, those who are still new, kindly watch the old videos. You will understand everything. So with the herbs, please let us follow the guidelines about the herbs. It is very, very important. Very, very important. They have really helped me a lot. And then let us not forget that these birds need drinking water. There is no day that these birds stay without drinking water. I make sure all the drinkers are filled up with the water, because now they are used to these points that I have put. So if one drinker gets done with, like the water gets done in this drinker, and you leave it there, so many other birds will keep coming there. They don't find water. Those birds will not move to another drinker to drink water from there. So the best thing is to remove away that drinker, and if you're not adding the water immediately, put it outside. Don't leave drinkers without drinking water inside the farm, because there are birds who will keep on coming there. They don't find water, they go back, they come back. They will not have the brain to go to the next drinker. So I am one person that you will not get a drinker inside the farm when it doesn't have the drinking water. I always make sure that all the drinkers have the drinking water. So let us make sure that always our drinkers have filled up with the drinking water for these birds. Now, when we come to feeding, I have been showing you these birds from day one, how I have been feeding these birds. When I was giving them the pellets, how I decided to leave the pellets, and I changed to this mash. I showed you every step. Currently, what we are feeding these birds, how I was adding the feeders, everything I've been showing you every day. So please, make sure that you follow those guidelines, because at least here, you're able to learn things from day one up to the last day. Those are some of the things that have really helped my birds to come this far without any disease outbreak, without Alinga complaining about any disease that is affecting these birds. Now, if we come to the chicken house, this is also very, very important. I believe these birds are not supposed to be overcrowded in one chicken house. I believe 6 birds in 1 square meters. Please, this is very, very important. Let us not put 7 or 8 birds or 10 birds in 1 square meters. If we want results, please, let us endeavor to have 6 birds in 1 square meters. For those who have enough land, you can even put 5 birds or even 4 birds in 1 square meters. That is very, very important. If you can see my chicken house, honestly, it is not overcrowded, you see? You can see it is not overcrowded at all. At all. Remember, my piece of land is also small, but let us not squeeze the birds since we have a small piece of land. So I prefer having few number of birds, like the right number of birds in a chicken house. I rather have few number of birds who are performing to their best than having very many number of birds who are not performing well, simply because I want many number of birds and they end up not performing well. I prefer having few number of birds here when they are performing to their best, when they are performing, giving me at least 95 egg production. So the chicken house should not be overcrowded. Guys, you can see the chicken house should not be overcrowded. The feeders should be enough for your birds. At least your birds should all be feeding at the same time. I told you this is the evening time we are feeding the birds, and you can see other birds normally feed and they start resting, just like you can see. So make sure that we follow some of these guidelines, honestly, if we want to succeed in poultry farming. And I believe that these birds will not get any chicken disease. Trust me. Actually, this is one flock that I have raised successfully, much as we lost birds. But you guys know the history, how we've lost those birds from day one, how we lost some birds when the sack fell on them. I think they were like 5. During vaccination, we lost 3 birds. You know the history, how we lost the birds. It wasn't due to disease outbreak, but due to some negligence. And also vaccination of fall typhoid made us to lose some 3 birds. But you know that I've not complained about any disease outbreak with this particular bird. So that is all I wanted you to know, how I'm really managing these birds and some of the things that I have been doing, of which I believe some of you can follow my footsteps and you can be successful in this project. I told you that we are going to start giving them the green vegetables. We are still on the treatment of the chronic respiratory diseases, simply because at this stage, these birds can easily contract this respiratory disease. Because you can see, we have put this these beddings. This is coffee ash. You can see now how it is looking. The feathers are also on the ground and they keep scratching down. So they can easily contract any respiratory diseases. So that is why at this stage, I also I'm also advising you that you can again treat them for the respiratory diseases. Then after this, I told you we shall deworm the birds, of which will also happen for 5 consecutive days, and then we shall start giving them the herbs to boost on their egg production, because that time now they will be heading to 16 weeks, 17 weeks, whereby we are expecting them to start laying eggs. Meanwhile, I'm already budgeting and planning how to start making the laying boxes, because it's a right time that we should now put the laying boxes for our birds. So those are the things that I wanted us to know. So for today, that is all I had for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for always coming back. Thank you so much for all your wonderful love and support. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for always commenting, sharing the videos, and liking the videos. But if you're still new, please kindly consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so that you never miss out any upload. Share this video, comment in the comment section down below, and I'll be so grateful. See you next time. I love you all. Bye bye.